Howdy folks, and welcome back to World of Tanks with the mighty Jingles. Why do we play World of Tanks? Serious question. Most of the time, the games that we play are completely forgettable. A fair amount of the time, they're absolutely terrible. Sometimes they're good, and very infrequently, they're great. But you can probably count on the fingers of one hand the number of times we've played games that are the stuff of legends. And I think it's these games that keep us coming back. Of course, you can always increase your chances of having a game that's the stuff of legends by playing a tank that's as glorious as the KV-2. This is the Hunter 2, although possibly his name is a play on words and it's an abbreviation of the Hun Terror 2, I don't know. We're going to call him Hunter. He is driving everybody's favourite Gopnik wonder tank, slaughterer of dissidents, king of the Gulag, defender of the motherland, the KV-2, with the 152mm howitzer. He actually has a fair amount of armour-piercing ammunition loaded onto the tank, which is highly irregular. Comrade Stalin would not approve. Now this is a tier 6 battle, he is of course top tier, and being a mid-tier battle you can of course rely on all kinds of players involved to be making some highly questionable decisions, like the flak bus up ahead, driving into the town on live oaks, in a machine that excels at sniping from concealment at a distance. Now, watching people make stupid decisions and dying as a direct result isn't something that's unique to mid-tier battles by any stretch of the imagination. There are tens of thousands of World of Tanks players out there who just failed their way to tier 10 by sucking long enough and hard enough. Anybody can do it. Anybody can make it to tier 10 in World of Tanks. It's just a question of how much of an appetite for terrible battle results you have. But it's definitely true that you do see more of it down here at the mid-tiers. You have the people who are never going to learn, you have the people who are still learning and will figure out how to actually play the game before they get any higher, but at this point they're all still struggling with the advanced concept of which end of the shell goes into the breech of the gun first. The problem is when the majority of these players are on your team and not the enemy's team. But you really do have to try to keep things into perspective and always try to look on the bright side and keep an eye open for opportunities. Opportunities? Like that. Because even if the majority of your team, rather than the enemy team, are a bunch of window-licking scrubs who would have a hard time finding their own arse in the dark without the assistance of a map, a flashlight, and a guide, well, that just means there's more things for you to kill. You just have to train yourself to think of the glass as being half full rather than half empty. Okay, it was kind of half empty for that Churchill 3 as he just got derped by the KV-2 from the enemy team. But it's just a matter of perspective. I mean, sure, your medium tanks might be driving out sideways on in front of enemy guns. Your heavy tanks might be exposing their weakest armour to the firepower of the enemies, and your lightly armoured, stealthy, and fast and manoeuvrable tank destroyers might be driving into the middle of a city to play peekaboo around corners with enemy derp guns. But it's not all bad. At some point the enemy team have to be making poor decisions as well. Like that OI experimental who's going to be able to reverse into cover before Hunter can reload and take the shot, and then suffers from a sudden rush of shit to the brain, stops before he could get into hard cover, and exposes the side of his tank to the KV-2's derp gun. It's not everybody on your team who are going to be making these bad decisions. And even if they are, you have to think of it as if they're angels of RNGesus sent down from heaven just to enable you to be able to pull off the kind of legendary carry that makes it into a YouTube video. Friendly OI up ahead could probably use some assistance against that Leopard. The Leopard's so small and the OI is so big that he's probably not going to be able to actually get his gun down at that kind of short range and hit him. And there's kill number 5. Unfortunately, Hunter has now attracted the wrath of the enemy artillery. There's 2 of them, an AMX-13 F3, which is pretty bad, and a Lefeur, which is even worse because, well, if you play World of Tanks, you are entirely aware of what a bastard that thing is. Ridiculous rate of fire, very short aiming time, stupidly accurate. Not only that, but it also has, and remember this is a tier 5 artillery, it also has a 390 meter view range. Yes, really. Why is that important, Jingles? Wait and see. Right, that T-67 needs to die. And he's missed. And he's spotted. And now he's in the shit. And it's not the T-67 that he needs to worry about. It's not the Type 64 that he needs to worry about. It's that bastard right there. And his little French friend too. So he can't sit on that corner just waiting to get hit by the artillery. He has to go out and deal with the T-67. He's got him. Now he has to deal with the Type 64. And he has to try to do it while remaining artillery safe. And the Type 64 is... well, he doesn't have a huge amount of health, and yep, artillery are trying to... what's that Stug doing? Well, he's going to have to risk taking further artillery hits by getting out there and killing the thing that's spotting them for the artillery. And he's managed to do it without getting spotted on the way in. And there goes the Type 64, and here comes the artillery. He's hit, his tracks are blown off, he knows there's a second shot incoming. Why isn't he using his repair kit? Because he knew there was a second shot incoming. So he waited until he'd taken the second shot and then used the repair kit. And you see how quickly that thing reloads and fires? It is absolutely disgusting. Well, he's managed to get out of there without taking any further damage. And now it's a case of 3 on 3. Well, except it isn't. It's actually 2 on 3 because the Stug's AFK. And unfortunately, in order to remain artillery safe and take advantage of the cover of these houses, he doesn't have a huge amount of option other than to knock all of these features over, announcing his presence to the enemy artillery. And he got spotted. It's the enemy flak bus on the hill. Taking a bit of a chance here. But he's got him. And once again, making the house there his waifu. Trying to stay artillery safe. Unfortunately, the only reason he didn't get hit by artillery there was because they were busy killing the OI. So now it's just him and an AFK Stug against 2 artillery. And this is going to be an issue. It's going to be an issue because the Lefebvre has a 390 meter view range, which is better than the view range of any tier 5 light tank by far. Like I said, the thing is absolutely disgusting. It can sit in a bush, spotting you from halfway across the map, and fire at you without being detected. Gee, if only there was a fast, manoeuvrable, stealthy, low-profile tank destroyer on the team who could zip out ahead and spot the artillery for Hunter in the KV-2, and possibly even kill them himself. Well, there is, but unfortunately, he's AFK. So Hunter's going to have to do this all himself. The problem, of course, is that the KV-2 has a view range of 330 meters. What's the view range of the Lefebvre? Oh yeah, 390. And he's going to be sitting in a bush. So even if he was within 330 meters, you're not going to see him. And he's going to see you. In fact, he just did. So how are you going to win this? Well, you're either going to have to be very good, or the enemy team are going to have to do something very stupid. And in all likelihood, it's probably going to be a bit of both. Now, you see, the KV-2 is a lot of things, but while it's definitely not the slowest thing around at tier 6, it's also definitely not the fastest. And while the Lefebvre's only weakness is that it's incredibly slow, that's not something you can say about the AMX-13 F3. That thing is rather fast indeed. And if, as Hunter takes a blind shot at one of the bushes, hey, you never know, there could have been some artillery hiding in it, but if that AMX-13 F3 was thinking to himself, well, we know where the KV-2 is, and every time it pops out it gets respotted, so if I was to make a run for the enemy cap, I might be able to win by capping. And even if the KV-2 could make it back in time without being spotted, I would see him first, while in the cap circle, and if I can't take him out, the Lefebvre would be able to. But instead he tried to do that. to be fair, it was probably because they don't know that the Stug 3 is AFK. And while it was even money whether or not a KV2 would be able to get back in time to reset a cap, the Stug 3 definitely would, and might not get spotted doing it. So I guess we can thank the AFK Stug 3 for not being dead. Which so far has been his only contribution to this battle. So now it's a one-on-one, and then suddenly a wild Lefur appears, and this is where Hunter 2 makes his only real miscalculation of the game. You don't bother to aim in a KV2, and he does get kind of lucky there. 410 possible damage, all of it blocked by his armour, but you know how quickly that thing reloads, and here it comes, and oh, well that was unexpected. They've both taken each other out. Bugger. But wait, the AFK Stug is still alive. And so once again, the AFK Stug's only contribution to this game was simply not being dead. And because of that, that's actually a victory for Hunter 2 in the KV2. You see, like I said, shit teammates like that are just RNG's way of testing us to see if we're worthy of entering the Hall of Legends. And on that bombshell, that's it for today. Hunter 2, thank you so much for sending that replay in. It was endlessly entertaining. Everybody else, I hope you enjoyed it. And as always, take care, and I'll catch you next time. Actually, Jingles, the Stug 3's only contribution to that game was not just being AFK. He did do 133 damage. Jingles?